Hello, friends, neighbors. John, your neighbor here. Welcome to the Nook. Sunday, and I've got a couple of nice samples to share with you. Again, more Scotch, and these are also peated. So, I don't know. These are pretty unique samples. Sean, Dark Cloud Whiskey, gave me this Glenburgie, 20-year-old, but it's a single cask edition. I think Hunter Lang released that. And then this Andy gave me is the Highland Park cask strength, but the release number 2. So I think this is 63.9%. This was 58 and something, 20-year-old. So, you know, if you've got anything a little bit peaty and pretty bold, something cask strength, that'd be great. If you have the Glenburgie or the Highland Park Release 2, when you pour it down with that, when you get back, you know, we'll nose and taste some Scotch together. 3, 4. Thanks for staying with me through the opener. As I said, the first sample came to me from Sean, Dark Cloud Whiskey. Sean is such a gentleman. And what a unique release. It's from Glenburgie. It's a Speyside distillery. I don't know much about Glenburgie. You know, of course, you can do a Google search and you look at Wikipedia and you think, oh, you know, it's a big part of Ballantine's. They had in 2005 or something, they had a 15-year single malt release. They also had, what was that one called? Glen Craig, something like that. I never had that single malt either. So I really don't know enough. But it's in the Speyside region. It's churning out some good single malt, mostly used in blends. This is a single cask, ex-bourbon, put into wood 1999, sat there for 20 years, non-chill filtered, and 58.6%. I believe the malt in here is peated, or at least lightly peated. Let's give it a try. A little bit of peat on that for sure. So there's definitely some peat notes, a little bit of smoke, a little bit of oil. But there's something else going on. Barrel char maybe? Something. I'm getting a little bit of almost a mint on the nose, which is interesting. Yeah, some malt. Okay, that's strange. It's got to be just my palate. I don't know what's going on, but it is, it's got some char and smoke and oil, you know, malt sugars, but then I'm getting a little bit of bright, kind of almost a mint. But what I'm trying to describe is not a sweet mint or like a peppermint, but just the way it's expressing itself in the Glencairn is sort of fresh. Very interesting. Let's try it on the palate. Sláinte. Much richer on the palate than the nose for me. That brings in some nice bit of baking spices on there, a little bit of sweet. It's full peat for me in the palate. I don't know how peated it is, but it is nice. Driftwood, char oil, campfire, a little bit of tar, black licorice. That might be the nose. Instead of mint, it might have been black licorice more on the nose. That is really nice. And yet, coating, chewy, I'm going to say kind of almost a smooth nature to it, especially given it's 58% or so. Very nice. Well, let's try Highland Park Cask Strength Release number 2. If you're a long-term viewer of the channel, you know that I like Highland Park. Somehow, I have not brought home a Highland Park Cask Strength Release. I don't know how that happened. But Andy, good friend, met through the channel, but I've been a guest in his home. He shared this. This is release number 2, so it's 63.9%. Highland Park, of course, lightly peated, but on the island of Orkney, the peat is quite different than other areas. Said to say more vegetable, more heather, more floral, that kind of thing. And this would also be aged. I don't know the proportions, but certainly they're known for their ex-sherry or sherry seasoned American and European oak. Don't know the age on this, but it's pretty big at 63 and a bit percent. on the nose. So on the nose, the sherry is really making itself known. If I was shooting it against something else, I'm not sure, but against a straight ex-bourbon, it really brings more fruit, more rich red fruits. The spicing is more Christmas cakey. It's sweet. It's got that sweet cherry, you know, the steeped cherries that go into those Christmas cakes. It's got that kind of nose. Wow. Just in comparison, much, much sweeter than the Glenburgie. This is now drier, spicier, oakier. Back to the Highland Park. Ah, yeah, nice and fruity. Let's try it on the palate. Sláinte. Good flavors in there too. It's got more of that spicing. It's a fair amount hotter. It is definitely higher percentage, but the hotter is also characteristic of kind of a bit more of a biting nature. It's got to be a lot younger, a lot younger. It's still chewy. It's still got some character, some backbone. But I would say it's playing into that real nice sweet spot of lighter peats than this. Less oil, less tar. This one's got more tar going on. This is more earthy, sweet, vegetable, lots of spices like the Christmas cake spices just keep coming, right? You know, the ginger and cinnamons and whatever else they put in that Christmas cake. It's got that real vibe, but it is hotter and bites right down in my core. A little more chocolates going on in there as well. Good flavors. Good flavors. Boy, I like that long finish on the Highland Park. I put a bit of water on both of these, let them rest for a bit. So just really quickly, the Glenburgie 20-year-old single cask release. Yeah, none of that mint is there anymore. Nice nose. Palate continues to be a little drier, a little oakier. Some nice spice. Definite peats. The Highland Park Cask Strength release number 2 with some water on it. Very pleasant nose. Now it's just some nice red fruits, a little bit of dried currants almost on the palate. You know, it continues to have obviously a more sherried influence, but it is very tasty, but still bites in my palate, even though I've proofed it down, probably similar range. This Glenburgie is just coating and chewy and, quite frankly, very smooth. Very nice. Thanks for these samples. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Andy. You guys are gentlemen. Really appreciate it. Nice to be able to just keep my palate expanding through the channel. If you've had either of these, why don't you share a few of your thoughts? I've only had this, but how did it compare to release 1, release 3? Like, how's this release 2 doing for you guys? And if you had a chance, there's only a few of these bottles out there, or if you know more about Glenburgie, why don't you share your experience? What have you tasted? What have you tried? Thanks for joining me here. Hope you guys have a great week coming up.